look at Jonny's numbers, the lowest average he's had has been 96.5, and that's in 6 games that he's played today.
Outside.
But Brendan Dolan has been good when it matters, and a little fortunate when it matters. Looks like
Jonny's
Ian White and Danny Noppert both missed multiple match darts against him.
Jonny to throw first.
Sometimes that happens when you win titles, though, isn't it?
We've seen it twice already this weekend. Adrian Lewis survived match darts in the first round, and Dirk van Duijvenbode survived match darts in 2 separate games.
125.
On Friday here in the Metrodome.
It is pretty ominous the way that Jonny's been playing today, because when he does win titles, it's usually with the kind of form that he's shown today.
100.
I think he may have had enough of not winning this year, and he showed a lot of steel, determination and accuracy against Dave Chisnell in that
85.
semi-final, because that could have got really slippery at one point.
Yeah, it was a tough battle against Chizzy, who has taken out the 3 highest ranked players in the tournament today. World number 1 Peter Wright, world number 3
100.
Michael Smith, and the world number 5 James Wade as well. But world number 9 Jonny Clayton, just a little bit too much for him.
140.
Brendan Dolan took out one of the people that many fancied this morning in Damon Heta. Damon, I think, just hitting the wall a little bit in that semi-final. And he walks into Blackpool
78.
without the title over the course of these last 4 tournaments, but a lot of really good performances.
He still averaged 98 in that final. He had to play well, didn't he, Brendan?
60.
But Jonny Clayton, you're right, I think he is a bit fed up of not having that winning feeling, something he was getting with alarming regularity all the way through last year.
140.
Who's going to get first blood? Looks like the Ferret.
Game shot.
Yeah, lovely jubbly. First leg, 14 darts. But there have been subplots over the last few days. The World Match Play race has been the #1 subplot. But we've kept an eye on a few other things as well. And I've picked out something about Brendan Dolan, because when today is over, we're talking about the race for the Grand Prix already. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
134.
But Brendan is right on the cut-off for that now. He wasn't actually in a qualifying spot before the semi-final today. By winning that match, he's currently
97.
in a spot. And because he's not qualified for Hungary or for Germany in early September, those 3 Players' Championships in early August and this match have massive
85.
significance about whether he will make Leicester.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be aware of that. I think he came here... There was still a chance that Brendan Dolan wouldn't make the match play. It was a long odds, but there were possibilities where Brendan Dolan might have missed out on making the match play. That's done. Now is the question whether he can go on and claim the title.
The story of the last 4 days, Dan, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, has been the people who had the spots have kept them. Lewis, Gilding, Roby, Dolan.
Well, Roby John Rodriguez, who will make his debut at the Winter Gardens, did keep hold of his spot, but he did have to earn it on the first day as well. He's forced his way in there over the last week and a half with some of his best stuff.
140.
A little bit of pressure from Jonny Clayton. Leaves himself on a 1 treble combo finish, but this would be a 13 darter.
Game
shot. Exactly what it is. Brendan Dolan starting this final impressively.
Just looking through Jonny Clayton's finals that he's had in PDC darts.
96.
His first one was a win against James Wilson by 6 legs to 1 in 2017. And ever since then, if you don't count the World Cup, where he has played Damon Heta before,
96.
He's always had different opponents, apart from one. He's played Gerwin Price in 2 finals, but every final that he's played that hasn't been Gerwin Price has been a different opponent. It's quite the bingo card that Jonny Clayton has, and he's never played Brendan Dolan in a final before. In fact, he hasn't played him in quite a while.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad that they haven't met each other for 4 years.
60.
Because Brendan Dolan, over the last 4 years, has been back going deep into tournaments. He had a good 4.5-year spell where his career was under threat.
60.
So it is now 2019, 2020, 2021 and 2022 that Brendan Dolan has made it to ranking finals. And Jonny Clayton, of course, over the last couple of years especially, has gone to another level. But even
180.
before that, he was picking up a title a year. Maximum from Brendan, but it's not one that gets him to a finish. That's a bogey number.
42.
When it comes to finals, Jonny Clayton's conversion rate is really useful. 66%. 9 wins, 6 losses.
98.
But when you see 2 players on bogey numbers, you think, that can't happen much in this final.
Well, I'll stick up for the ferret there.
93.
He was trying to get it right. You just missed the target. But this is a real opportunity. Treble 17. Leaves double 8.
Game shot.
Oh, it's in! Wow. Well, I couldn't quite tell at first. Director showing us the camera angle there. Brendan Dolan using it expertly in the end.
That was a John O'Shea dart, that one. He did that on the first day on Friday. He had double 8 and you couldn't see the dart. He made it disappear, but it was
100.
a good shot. It's just like the dart he used to beat Phil Taylor in the 2012 European Championship. A very infamous
100.
match. Are you looking forward to the draw, Mr. Dawson?
I am. And it would
42.
be very interesting because I think that there are a number of players who we'd already highlighted that the seeded players would not want to face.
85.
And Damon Heta is among them, but all of a sudden, do they start thinking slightly differently about Brendan Dolan if he goes on and wins this? Particularly, I mean, we could be drawing Brendan Dolan versus Jonny Clayton in the first round at Blackpool here.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. We're looking at a game that
59.
could be on Saturday night, for instance. Funnier things have happened. But you look at the match play race now, and we have possibilities.
100.
What's your ideal match then? Come on, give it to me. Which one do you want?
Look, whatever we get, he's going to be feisty,
100.
But,
I know what I want.
well, you tell us that then.
Humphreys against Searle. That's what I want to see.
That was, of course, the
140.
opening Pro Tour final, the first Players' Championship event of this year. It was won by Luke Humphreys. They both did their post-match interviews praising each other to the hilt. And look what Luke Humphreys has gone and done this year.
I've got one more for you. Gary Anderson versus Adrian Lewis.
140.
Well, there's all sorts of combinations. Got debutants going to the match play. Schindler, Rodriguez. Jonny Clayton looking to break straight back
36.
and worries the wire, but Brendan Dolan is there on a simple, well, I say simple, single to double. He's going to end up blocking a portion of this bed, you would think.
Left side would be nice. Beautifully done. Didn't have to move. And
Game
finds
shot.
the target. Couldn't wish for a better single. Flight out the way, barrel out the way, and the way his darts sit in the board, they kink to the left, not blocking anything. Beautifully crafted there by Dolan, who takes a
134.
3-1 lead. Do you think it would be nice and
60.
fitting for what we've gone through this week in the sport of darts, because we sadly lost John Gwynn a couple of days ago, and it was of course John that voiced that
85.
history-making 9-darter for Brendan. It would be quite something, wouldn't it?
Certainly would. That's why he's got the moniker, the
34.
history maker, of course. The first player to hit a double start 9-darter at the World Grand Prix. Paul's already mentioned the race for the Grand Prix will be the next big race
140.
on the cards, but there is the ongoing rolling order of merit for getting into things like European tours, and Jonny Clayton has forced his way into the top 16, the seeded positions for that, so that's significant for Jonny
100.
Clayton.
Yeah, that semi-final between himself and Dave Chisnell was a playoff, wasn't it? To see who was going to be seeded for the last 2 European Tour events.
100.
Turns out it was, so there'll be plenty of action on the Euro Tour stages for the Ferret later on this year. But it is very
140.
much focused on this and then the World Match Play. Oh, well, that's not what he wanted. But that is what he
Game
wanted.
shot.
Little double-double finish for Jonny Clayton.
Show off. He's having a little shake of the head there as if to say, that wasn't part of the plan. Still work, JC. People who have beaten
96.
Jonny Clayton in a final. Michael van Gerwen, that was at the Players' Championship Finals in 2017. He lost to Jeffrey Desvaughn in a Players' Championship
34.
in 2018. He's lost to Devin Peterson in a European Tour event. And he's also lost to Callan Ridds, Joe Cullen and Peter Wright.
100.
Well, Brendan has carried on at the level he was producing in the semi-finals
60.
against Damon Heta. And if you're going to average high 90s like he is doing here, like he did against Heta, average that and be good on your doubles, and you can beat pretty much anything.
100.
He's a good 8 points behind Clayton on the average for the day, but it doesn't matter. Because right now, Brendan is
100.
playing the best darts he's played of the day. And it's come just at the right time. He probably should have been beaten by Danny Noppert. He could have been beaten by Ian White much earlier in the day. But he's made the most of those chances.
I'm just having a look through Brendan's history in finals.
100.
You know, Dan, it makes for amazing reading. I didn't know that he lost his first 7.
Oh, it took him a long while to get over the line, yeah.
And when he did, he won his next 5.
121.
And then since then, he's won 3 and lost 3. So, whew, I tell you what, since he won his first Players' Championship back in November of 2013, he's had a great hit rate.
73.
Under-delivered. I think that was outside the board instead of inside the double 7.
Well, that's actually helped him out there then. He wouldn't want to be coming back looking at double 9. He'd rather be looking at that double 16.
145.
Jonny Clayton, once again, is on his shoulder, ready to pounce if there's a mistake. There is a mistake. And another mistake.
29.
And Brendan Dolan, well, he's gone for double 16 nearly at double 7. Then he's hit 8. Then he's hit the wrong one. Then he's hit inside double 3.
How about you, Johnny?
Game shot.
Oh, a bit of a bonus to bring us level at 3-3. Many a shake of the head from Jonny Clayton. He's wondering, how am I 3-3? I really should be 4-2 down. I agree.
60.
Well, you mentioned Brendan's record in finals. You can kind of look at his career in 2 parts, I think, because he even refers to it himself as his sort of 5-year chill out.
100.
Between winning titles, and he was worried about his career. He was generally looking at going back to doing painting and decorating in Northern Ireland.
41.
But then it did click, and he started winning things again. And it's that period where he's managed to win 3 titles. A couple in 2019, one last
60.
year. Potentially another one here, where he's established himself as a good, solid, reliable pro and a man who can win things. He's got, 8 titles to his name in PDC darts.
180.
There's more he can unlock. Do more damage at the big TV tournaments.
Yeah, that win against Jameen Watamina in Germany back in August of 2019, that changed everything, didn't it?
97.
Really did. He was on the phone to his partner that morning, basically saying, I'm going to quit, and then getting an earful from her saying, no, you're not. Get back on the board and go and win something.
60.
When Teresa tells you to do something, you do it. It's quite simple.
100.
We've seen great double acts in the sport of darts. The people that you don't see, for instance. Oh, we can see a 160.
120.
We see a 144, but remember when Robert Thornton was doubting himself? Christine Thornton would say, get your act together, Sonny Jim.
And it worked.
92.
Now can Jonny Clayton go into the lead? He was 1-0 up and then 3-1 down. But he can't force that final dart in there. And Brendan Dolan can break back immediately.
That's the trade-off of having those stack of darts, isn't it? That top sped can be really evasive if you hit that shot just over the top wire. Double 16. What a guide.
Game shot.
Lovely from Dolan. Trading blows in this final, but it's Dolan who hits the front again.
Well, so far this weekend, we saw an incredibly one-sided final on the Friday. Dirk van Duijvenbode smashing Gabriel Clemens, whitewashing him 8-0. Adrian Lewis was always in control against Boris Koltsov yesterday. Managed to win that 8-4. But in between, Danny Knott and Andrew Gilding had an absolute cracker, which looked like it was going Gilding's way until an incredible comeback from the Dutchman. This one looks very, very tight. And it's difficult to say
131.
who's going to have the upper hand come the end of it.
Darts is in a pretty good place at the minute. 4 tournaments, 4 different winners,
95.
8 different finalists. That didn't used to happen a few years ago. You'd always have MVG winning a couple of tournaments or Phil Taylor dominating for a weekend. It doesn't happen anymore. Everything's been shared
140.
around.
Well, this Jonny Clayton here, maybe the world number 9, but he is the man who topped the Premier League phase, and I always think that's
96.
If you're looking for a question of who the best player in the world is, that's not a bad guide. Because you're playing the very best week in, week out, and Jonny Clayton has prevailed in that. Dolan not needing to stay on the 20s to leave a shot at the bull, and he's going to have another crack at that double 16. As long as there aren't any horrible mistakes like a couple of legs ago where he couldn't hit the right segments, let alone the double, it could be 5-3.
You're looking at 2 of the best double 16 shooters in the world.
Game shot.
But it's Dolan who has the cushion. Clayton needs to find a patch of purple and fast.
46.
I don't think there's any getting away from the fact that this is Jonny Clayton's poorest performance of the day. Admittedly, he's set an extraordinarily high bar.
100.
There is still time to turn it around. But he might need to do a bit of Danny Noppert type stuff and suddenly click into gear, particularly
60.
against the darts.
That's exactly what Danny did. He started to find the maximums. He was backing them up as well, getting 2 in a leg. And just to suffocate
83.
Brendan Dolan a little bit with some high scoring is exactly what he needs.
You can see he's getting frustrated, John.
40.
I mean, to be fair, if there was any game in the history of darts, Brendan Dolan versus Jonny Clayton is the one that is least likely to kick off. There's going to be nobody's going to like throw their toys out the pram or have an argument with each other in this game, I can assure you. But you can see that Clayton is getting frustrated with himself. Because he's been playing better than this since 12 o'clock noon. And it's gone 5:30 here, and all of a sudden, with the title there for the taking, it's just deserting him a little.
If you want a friendly game, maybe we should have Hendo refereeing it. Nothing against our referee in this match, Andrew Davies.
95.
Oh, it's not. It's Luke Guest, actually. Andrew Davies has already left the building.
Plus, you've got loads against Andrew Davies.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't stand him.
Good recovery from Brendan.
78.
And you sense that this may have to go. He's looking south. It's looking good for Dolan.
44.
It is looking very good. To go 3 clear. We've not seen daylight like this in this final up until now. It is 6-3 and it's a breaker throw, and Jonny Clayton hadn't even realised. Brendan Dolan's 3 up, throwing to go 4 up and 1 away from the title, what would be his 9th PDC title.
Jonny thought he was throwing first.
140.
He did a little moonwalk away from the ocky there. And when you are 3 behind, you automatically think, surely it's my start. The fact that it wasn't is even worse news. Brendan Dolan this week had not won a game until this morning.
136.
A rather ridiculous thing to say, and now he's in the final. There have been plenty. I think it's 16 players this week who have not
83.
won one single game. Now, Dolan was in the doghouse, really, when he woke up this morning, but the way he's been able to see the sunshine and get into this final and be on the cusp of the title just goes to show the kind of mettle that he possesses.
Well, I think one of those players was Willie Borland, who's not won a game in the 4 days, and he played Rob Cross in the first round here today, and it went to a last leg decider because Cross had lost in round 1 the first 3 days as well. But Jonny Clayton's maximum gets into a finish, but he's finding Dolan already on a better one. Double 5.
75.
Went down south for the 137 in the previous leg. He's not going to go south for the 138. The old school route. Double 12. Back in the final. Boy, did he need that.
The greatest 138 you will ever see in the sport.
You're forgetting about the 138 I hit against Brendan in a European Tour qualifier about 5 years ago.
I can't think of any others. But look, there's been some great ones.
140.
Surely Brendan knew that Jonny was not going to go quietly into the night. As Bill Pullman said in Independence Day.
Well, we've seen before.
180.
A big shot like that at a crucial moment can just spark something. We saw from Danny Noppert when he looked like he was slipping away in that final against Andrew Gilding, who was in charge of it. He found something. The very best players can do that. Jonny Clayton is unquestionably one of the very best players around at the minute.
100.
But can he find enough to turn this around? This is an excellent leg of darts.
You know what we were saying about Brendan not finding a win until this morning?
100.
Clayton didn't win on the first 2 days. It's amazing how things turn around. And double 12 is coming to his aid. It's now 6-5. But Dolan does still have the advantage of throw.
12 darter, followed by an 11 darter. Jonny Clayton has dragged his average up.
140.
And if he continues to throw this sort of stuff, he only has to do it for another 5 minutes. And Brendan could see this title slip away from him.
The only person to beat Jonny Clayton in the last couple of days was yesterday's champion. So he is in a good space. When he lost to Lewis, it was 6 legs to 4, and it was an excellent game of darts. His resolve in this game has been the key thing, and that 138 could well be the turning point.
Well, it could be, but Brendan Dolan knows that 2 holes of throw is enough.
$100.
Love those tons. You're worried you're only going to come away with 60. That ton will feel a lot better than it was, especially now that Clayton comes up with only 43.
Well, it's difficult to sustain that sort of excellence that you produce for a couple of legs there, Jonny Clayton. Is he going for it? Is he going for it?
129.
Nope. Double 16. Mr. Reliable.
134.
Clayton gets to the finishing zone with a great switch, but you sense it's going to be 7-5 in a matter of seconds.
Game shot.
Is that the dart that stops the Jonny Clayton charge? Andrew Gilding couldn't find one of those legs a couple of days ago in the final, and Danny Noppert surged past him to the title.
139.
There's been a surge from Clayton. There needs to be another one after a minor pause. The amount of mistakes he's allowed to make are incredibly minimal. That is for sure.
It's 3 legs on the spin he needs. Only one of them against the darts.
60.
But every visit that he comes up dry when he's looking for trebles is only going to pile the pressure onto himself and give succor to Brendan Dolan.
What's he going to do on that 302? This is one of those numbers where he has
95.
made mistakes in the past. Luckily, Dolan is not on a finish. But he is going 18s first. Got to go 60.
132.
A plus.
Jonny Clayton sorting out the maths, giving himself a chance. And if he does take out this 170 when he returns to the board, because Brendan should be on a finish, he'll come down for the 19s.
99.
Well, if he does take out this 170, it will prove how important it is sometimes to get the maths right. It won't go on this occasion, and Brendan Dolan could win the match and the title in the final game before the match play.
There's only one better way to win a tournament, and that's to hit a 9. So this would be an amazing way. Oh, what a cruel kick into the 5.
68.
No match dart. Oh,
18.
2 wire double 9s. You can see how close they were, but now this effort is a lot easier than a 170 to win the tournament.
It is easier than a 170. It perhaps should be easier still after Brendan didn't really put a dent in the 170. But he will get a match dart for a 9th title of his career. And Brendan
Game
Dolan
shot
on double
and the
16
match.
seals the deal. He wins Players' Championship 21.
Wonderfully done from Dolan.